It's the end of an era for a Lake Street St. Catharines institution. That's Entertainment, the last video rental store in the region, if not Canada, is closing its doors. General Manager Greg Switzer joins us. Greg, a very tough decision to make.
Very tough, yep. The writing's been on the wall, I guess, for a while, but the pandemic really killed it. And lockdowns and forced lockdowns that we probably shouldn't have been locked down for with our... We just weren't essential enough. Even though we had a convenience store, we weren't deemed big enough or essential enough to stay open all the time, and the rubber hits the road.
A lot of people would ask you, why didn't you make this decision 10 years ago?
It was still doing really well back then. Yeah, I mean, not only did the lockdown affect us, but it also affected production.
Right.
So there weren't as many movies being made. There weren't as many movies being released. So there wasn't as much new product to bring people in. And people are still hungry for entertainment and movies. But the demand the supply, just isn't there right yet.
And that was part of your big focus, was that you had so much supply there.
Yep.
It was such a big store, and you could find just about anything.
You could, yeah. And I'm sure there are people who have seen 90% of the titles in there, but it's still new release driven. So they want to see something brand new all the time. And if the new stuff isn't being supplied, it's kind of hard to keep it going with 2-3 titles a week or whatever.
Let's talk about some of the other things that you did from that store. As you mentioned, it was a convenience store as well.
Yep.
You sold CDs for a long time. You did everything there.
Everything, yep. We started out back in the VHS and beta days. We did the format wars. We skipped over Laserdisc. I think partially because there was not much faith in the system, but also they were clunky.
Huge.
Yeah. We had just gotten rid of albums, so we didn't need to bring anything album-sized back in.
Right.
We did the format wars. We went on to VHS, or from VHS onto DVD, DVD onto Blu-ray, onto 4K, and that's the last of the formats for us.
For many of your customers, especially over the last 10 years or so, while all the other stores were falling by the wayside, they really relied on you for their entertainment.
Yep. And the other stores really focused only on their rental product. And we didn't focus solely on rental because we did have a lot of used stuff for sale. New movies, used movies, traded in movies, and video games, and obviously the CDs as well. Recently we got into the Funko Pops. We had some memorabilia sort of stuff, which people really took to. The Funko Pops are kind of amazing because no matter what you're a fan of, there's a figure for it.
There's something out there.
It doesn't matter. You can be the most obscure race car driver and they've got a figure for it. And the most obscure movie, they've got Alfred Hitchcock ones, which was really cool. Since
you've announced that the store is closing, what has traffic been like in the store?
For the first couple of weeks there, it was pretty crazy. It was kind of back to the old heydays. A lot of the newer staff were like, oh my goodness, this is so busy, this is so busy. And it's like, this is nothing. Should have been here Friday night in the 90s. We had a line twice this size.
Do you shake your head while all these people are coming in and saying, to yourself, where were you 2 years ago? Where were you 3 years ago?
You do.
Right?
Yep. We've got a massive outpouring on Facebook and on our social media that we love you, we're going to miss you. And there's a little party that says, well, if you came around a bit more often, we wouldn't be doing this.
That's right.
Yeah.
You really were an anachronism, though, when you look at it.
Yep.
And it's something that, and I have to give you credit for keeping the faith on this as well.
Oh,
you were filling a niche for many people that didn't want to subscribe to Netflix or Crave or one of those services.
And when we were locked down, anyone that didn't stream had to learn how to stream.
The other thing that comes to mind here is the fact that, if you are subscribing to Netflix and relying on that as your entertainment, you're limited to what they offer. And that limit wasn't there with Net's entertainment.
No, a lot of people don't realize, they think that the internet is infinite. And the internet is, but the platforms and the subscription services aren't. They are finite. They have 2,000 titles or whatever it is for each service. And when they put 5 more on, they take 5 more off. I'm sure it's all to do with licensing and all that stuff. But you could now to get all that you want, you have to subscribe to every service. You got to have a Prime account, a Netflix account, a Disney account, a Crave account. Whereas with the video store, you could get that all under one roof.
You were also allowing for, I guess, encouraging binge watching long before there was this subscription service, because you were known for having some of the TV shows and all the episodes where a lot of the other video rental services wouldn't touch those for many years.
Yeah, it took them a long time to kind of catch up on that one.
What is the process now? You're closing this store at the end of?
End of June. Product determining that. It is starting to fill out or empty out pretty quickly. After the end of that, there's going to be a ton of paperwork to do, but as long as we've got product there, they'll still be open to sell it.
Are you still renting films right now?
No.
Not at all? Just
rental,
people are
or just sales, right?
Just sales right now?
Yeah.
If there is product left over, where does that end up?
Not sure yet. I'm sure a lot of staff are going to add to their collections because we do employ a lot of movie buffs. There's also the library and stuff like that to consider when we're at the very, very end of it all.
Are you in touch with other last standing video rental stores across the country?
We've reached out to a few, just through some of the various associations that we've been part of. We were part of the VSDA, which was the Video Software Dealers Association, which merged into the RCC, which is the Retail Council of Canada. We were in the Ontario Convenience Store Association. We were in that, just to see who might want some of the product and some of the fixtures and things like that.
Where do you go next? What happens with Greg Switzer next?
That's a good question. I'll be a free agent. I can be on anybody's workplace trivia team now, because I was always a ringer for the pop culture.
Yes. I have to keep that in mind.
There you go. Yep.
That's perfect. It really is a shame to see this store closing. And how do you feel about it personally?
It hasn't hit me yet because there is still so much to do. Moving all the product forward, getting it all priced, getting it all received, getting everything out, getting as much cleaned out as we can. But then every once in a while I'll go on Facebook and I'll see some of the comments, and I'll see some former staff members commenting, and it's like, oh, I remember giving you your first job. And then you tear up a little bit there once in a while. You see, or you remember some of these names and faces you haven't seen in a while.
Well, it's a sad time for many people in Niagara. Greg, we wish you best of luck in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.